front step.
Anyone go down our trip? Oh my God, yeah.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Bud Davidge and Friends. I got to introduce this afternoon to the two gentlemen, but I forgot their names already.
Paul and Nate. 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 Like to be Paul and Nate.
Okay, you just heard what I said. Anyway, welcome to our come home year festivities. We've been having a fantastic week, and for anyone that haven't joined us, they missed out on a lot. Today we had a mug up in the cold, which we had that was this morning at 8 o'clock, and that was a big attendance, and there was coffee and tea and muffins and whatever else. And this afternoon we had tours of 265 footers, and we had over 40 people, I believe was it, Ross? Yeah, over 40 people on each boat, which was amazing. And we had a fun crew here again tonight, and up at the tea room today, it was locked when we were here supper time, and we really appreciate it. And tomorrow, tomorrow morning, let me see now. Oh yeah, breakfast here at 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. And that's sponsored by St. Luke's Vestry. So we hope you'll all come back and have breakfast. And then you can go up by the Pentecostal church, and there will be a vendor's market on the church parking lot. Up from the Pentecostal church will be a cash show, not a cash show, what do you call it, Wayne?
Antique classic car show.
Yeah, but for shine show.
Show and shine.
Show and shine, let me get it right. Show and shine, so that's up on, just up at the Pentecostal church. And from 11 to 7, tomorrow and Sunday, it's museum days down at the museum. And they will have rock painting for the kids and music. Ben is here tonight. You've seen Ben live on Facebook yesterday down to the lighthouse. So Ben will be singing off and on throughout the day tomorrow and Sunday. And then on Sunday morning, we go to church up at the Pentecostal as an ecumenical church service. And at 3 o'clock, we're going to do a gospel concert in the playground. And at 7 o'clock, we're going to end off our come home year festivities. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if we're allowed, we will check the fire protection at the bonfire in the whole field. Let's go down Layton's Road. And what, Don?
Down on Burn stage too.
Oh, yes. Down in Uncle Vern Pitt's shed, down next to Porterhouse, you will see a two-story house, and you look down and there's 3 sheds or 4 sheds. And in one of them is going to be everything make the brakes.
Say a dozen.
A dozen make the brake engines, and there's also a motorboat. That's going to be on display tomorrow afternoon from 2 to 4. So if you're into motorboats and making brakes, go down there, and Blair, I think Don will be there, so he'll talk your ear off. But anyway, but I'm very proud tonight to introduce my good friend Bud. Bud and I have been friends for a long, long time. And Bud used to come to the Bay Arena years ago, and we always had a grand old time. And we'd end off the night, no matter it was 2 o'clock in the morning, we'd have some Kentucky Fried Chicken. And every time Bud sees me, he said, "Remember the chicken at the arena?" So anyway, folks, thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. And here's Bud and friends.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Joyce. Yes, you've been spoiling us. We've been coming down here, myself and Sim said, we read a little thing one time called Sim and I, and for 20 years or so, and we'd always come every summer to the Bay Arena, and Israel was there. Joyce and Don were there, and they always looked out to us, and like she said, after the dance was over, and there was a big dance, there was an arena full of people. So a lot of dancing going on, and then afterwards she'd feed us a big feed of Kentucky Fried Chicken or something like that. I don't think it was Mary Brown's then, I don't think Mary Brown was on the go at the time. It goes back a ways. But anyway, Joyce for inviting us down to this beautiful, beautiful part of the country. We've been here before. We were down when Mr. Baron Penn did his book some years ago. Paul and I came down to the church and helped him introduce his book when he put it out. And we had a chance, I know Irish, of course, for a good many years, through the university and so forth. And grand people down here, lovely, wonderful people. We always get treated well, and we always look forward to coming back down, of course. Before we get started tonight, I'd be remiss if I didn't say what somebody texted me yesterday to say, happy birthday to Mrs. Violet Porter. You're in the audience tonight, I think? No? Oh, there's Michelle. Can I tell them how many your birthday is? Am I allowed to say? You're not allowed to say, yes, you're celebrating 76 of them. Well, you know, hey, 78 of them, they're numbered on go, for God's sake. Brownie youngsters, my child, that's how he is, youngsters. Anyway, and we want to say happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Violet, happy birthday to you. There you go, what was that? You didn't expect to get that. You didn't expect it. Anyway, folks, we're going to start out now. When I get some of the fuel here to keep me going so I don't get dehydrated. Some of you myself have said we put out some years back in 1986, as a matter of fact. We've been singing it all over the place ever since, and I know many of you in the audience already know the words and everything. So feel free to join in with us as we sing it, and there's a big dance floor, so don't feel shy. If you want to come out and use the big dance floor, well, by all means do so, you know. All this stuff that Joyce just read out there that she's going to do, well, she could even a dancer, so get among it all. And looks like you got a great agenda for your come home here this summer. And you've certainly got beautiful weather, and you've certainly got the beautiful surroundings, because it's absolutely gorgeous down here. We're going to start out with a song called Music Friends. Nothing seems to turn things myself and Sensei Richard passed away back in 2010, sorry to say. And but over the years we did a lot of traveling together and a lot of performing and recording. We made 12 recordings up until the year 1997. And one of them that we did was back in 1985. And we titled it Outpoured People. And because all of the songs on there reflected upon our people here in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador in various ways. And then one particular way was to say something about the resettlement program that happened back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and so on, still going on today. Some of the communities are still being resettled and for various reasons. And back then, some of the reasons weren't all that great. And anyway, I wrote a song called Outpoured People. Quickly became known as the Resettlement song back then, and it's been played quite a lot. We're going to do it for you now. In 1982, we did our second album. It was called Heaven by Sea. And say a little bit more about the title later on. But on that particular record, we had a song from down in Fortune Bay, where I'm from. And the song that told a story that I was pretty familiar with growing up. It was about a little schooner that was out of Fortune Bay, out of St. Jackson in Fortune Bay. A little banking schooner going out to the Grand Banks and so forth. And anyway, the story goes that the skipper on board of this little schooner, he was from Boxy down in Fortune Bay. And he was a wee bit of a renegade, I suppose you could say. ran into a French captain out there from over in France, somewhere in France, Normandy or somewhere. They were coming to St. Pierre as they always would, on their way out to the fishing grounds and so forth. But anyway, the story goes that the captain of the little schooner Maria and the captain of this beam trawler, she was called back in for very early versions of the battles that would come later. Anyway, they fell into this feud, drinking and all there was out of St. Pierre, as it was commonly done back then. And they got into a feud, and the French captain said, well, you know, we'll take it out on you when we get you out on the ocean. And there's a lot more room out there than there is in here. So they didn't take him at his word, I suppose. Thought it was just a lot of bluff and all that, but it turned out not to be the case. And the little schooner was, as the story goes, was scuttled by this beam trawler and the skipper from France. And I know the story fairly well growing up, because my grandmother's brother was one of the 19 crew that were on that little schooner, and he was lost, as all of the others were in this disaster back in 1915. So I wrote a song about it in 1982, we put it on that record, Heaven by Sea, and we're going to do that song for you now called The Lost of the Married. In 1915, on the 10th day of June, at first port from Marion Bay, prepared for the banks that was custom to do, all loaded to be went for day. The wind from the north whisked the fine summer breeze, as like George from St. Taxi's steer. And the boys in the forecastle made plans for that night, but they all go ashore at St. Pierre. Somewhere on easy then trouble they said, as like Jones was noted to fight. At the Cafe de France on the last trip he made, a Frenchman had turned his life. The challenge to fight was issued that night, while the chief French liquor land. The French captain led one of the Belgians men, he would answer the challenge at sea. Next day the Marion set sail again, and so to the story relates. The French beat trawler weighed anchor as well, and followed close by in our way. She's a Portuguese schooner heading out for the banks, where to find the Portuguese men. But some on the quay were rumored to say she'd never be heard from again. The fate that befell the Marion's crew and their schooner will never be known, nor the tracing of tidings were ever again to be heard by those waiting at home. Some say the Frenchman was true to his word, some say he did this for the yard. And he struggled the Marion and settled the debt, not taking one man over the side. Families of skinners and ballasts and miners grieve for their loved ones unsure. And the Newfoundland story of lost to the sea was told us so often before. She's a Portuguese schooner heading out from St. Jack's, where to find the Portuguese land. But never no more will she pass by the light, with her jib flapping into the wind. No, never no more will she pass by the light, with her jib flapping into the wind. two buddies here who are with me tonight are from Bell Island. Originally, their roots are off of Bell Island. And they're good friends with Mr. Harvage over the years. And you probably will notice, listening to Paul play the accordion, a lot of the tunes that he plays and the way that he plays them are reminiscent of the way that Mr. Harvage used to play the tunes. Now, Paul is going to do one for you now. I think that Harry had on one of his records, Paul.
Yeah, it's a tune called Lands of Mountains, Fighting 59.
That's for sure. You all right?
Oh, yeah.
You all right? We might have to hook up his car into a radiator or something, make sure it's dehydrated or whatever for the winds out. It was pretty warm yesterday. Isn't that all? You're dancing, you know, you'll be really, really warm, but this time you will be all right. Yeah.
That's going to be warm weather, but that's going to be weather's last up.
Anyway, as I mentioned earlier on, we did a record back in 1982 called Heaven by Sea. At that time, it was 1985. We were getting ready for a record a year or so before that. And in 1983, we were celebrating in Newfoundland and Labrador. We take every opportunity to celebrate whatever comes along, as you know. Glad you get the chance. So back then, we were celebrating the coming over of Sir Humphrey Gilbert to claim Newfoundland for the Queen. I don't know what her name is, Elizabeth, I suppose, go first. Elizabeth first and fourth. Victoria, I'm not sure which one it was. Anyway, they sent him over here, they said, go over there, look, take positions out over there, and see what you can find. So they came over in 4 ships, I think it was all together. In August, around the 4th of August, I think, they ran ashore going into the Narrow. They were, you know, like something like an apple dumpling game. It seemed like they, you know, they made a lot of mistakes and all that. But anyway, they arrived in St. John's, and when they got there, of course, the Spaniards and French and Portuguese and all those parts, they'd been there for long before that. You know, they were there having a good time on George Street or where at the time. And so along comes Sir Humphrey Gilbert in 1583, and he says, boys, sorry to interrupt your party here, but we're going to take position in this place. And then one of us said to him, I want some more right to it. If you want it, you can have it, because we're not interested in it. So anyway, he went down there, I think it was just below where the war memorial is now. It was called King's Beach at that time. And he took position. You probably remember the old geography books and history books where you see a picture of Sir Humphrey Gilbert with a sod and something else to take position off the land for the Queen, the oldest colony again it would become. And so anyway, seeing we were celebrating it, we called our river Heaven by Sea because it was reported that Son of the governor, on his way back, he had a little schooner, not schooner, a ship, you know, one of these little square riggers or whatever they were. And she was called the Squirrel. Why would anybody call the ship the Squirrel? I'm not exactly sure about that. But anyway, she was on a small ship, and on the way back, he ran into a bit of a storm out there, and all hands got lost on board of this little schooner, this little boat, ship. Anyway, it was reported, again, I don't know where this came from, but it was reported, I'm sure you remember, if you read any of the history books, that he was to have said, we are nearer to heaven by sea as we are by land. Now, you know, come to think of it, he's out in the middle of the North Atlantic, there's a raging gale on him, and he's going to lose everything. And he says this, and somebody hears him say it. Who in the world would have been who would have said it? I don't know about that. He never had a cell phone, and he never had an amplifier or any comment. But anyway, they said that's what he said. So that's good enough for us. We wrote a song we called Heaven by Sea. We put a little twist to it because we are living in what might be called Heaven by Sea. Long years ago, it's our history show. Nearly 100 years after time of cable, Britannia's rule reached out over the sea to make us their first colony. They all say John Charlie one fine August day. Gilbert's 4 ships in the still waters lay. Just above Catesby's possession he lay, over Newfoundland turf for the week. I've seen my heart in this country so grand. What's Gilbert's remarks for he left Newfoundland? No, he never reached Plymouth to tell the good news. His last words spoke more than true. Nearer to heaven by sea, as close to perfection as an item can be. This world has its wonders, but it seems to me we're nearer to heaven by sea. Country with pride, from Spanish rolling prairies to the Rockies so high, and the north of its splendor of rivers and trees, God's notion of freedom and peace, and off to the east where the Atlantic is, our own island shores make the beauty complete. As much in our praises our great land may be, we're nearer to heaven by sea. We're nearer to heaven by sea, as close to perfection as an island can be. This world has its wonders, but it seems to me we're nearer to heaven by sea. Yes, we're nearer to heaven by sea. I knew you already know that's true enough. That's true enough. The next little song we're going to do is another song that came out of Fortune Bay. I don't think it was written by anybody down there. Probably came across the waves with a lot of other stuff that came over when the immigration took place in 1800s, I suppose, around about here. Anyway, there's a little town down there called Coons Cove, and down where I am in Chicago West in Boxy, Coons Cove, and that area there along the north shore of Fortune Bay. There's a family there that knew a bunch of old songs that hardly anybody else ever knew, but they used to sing them around their kitchen table and so forth. And this particular one, I don't know if anywhere else in the province that knew about this song. It was only recorded once, so we did it back. We had a festival down there every year for the last 40 years or whatever, down there in St. Jack's, every summer in August. And when we celebrated our 25th anniversary, we put out a CD with 25 songs on it, I think. And the first song on it was this particular one called Don't Call Us Common Sailors Anymore. You see how the chorus goes in this song, and you want to chip in because it's a pretty easy chorus, then please feel free to do so and sing along as loud as you want. It's called Don't Call Us Common Sailors Anymore. I'm the man before the mast that plows the raging pain. I'm wishing to be comrades and this room I will proclaim. I'm sailors we are called and I'll tell you reasons why. In answer to our calling we are bound for to comply. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors, don't call us common men. We're as good as any man upon the shore. The young men of this country are sitting at their ease, and they don't know the stormy nights that we spend on the seas. To bring the leaves, to make cigars, to decorate their face. They would not call us common, were they sometimes in our place. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors, don't call us common men. We're as good as any man upon the shore. Play on. The young girls of this country will bless the coming days. We'll bring the silks and sand from which their places made. To win the hearts of some young man like fancy verses do. So don't despise the sailor boy, the sailor woman. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors, don't call us common men. We're as good as any man upon the shore. We are the pride of Canada from the east coast to the west. And when our country needs us, we're better than the best. And if the foreign enemy invade our native shore, we call upon to drive it back like no time did before. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors anymore. Don't call us common sailors, don't call us common men. We're as good as any man upon the shore. We're as good as any man upon the And living in a place like Puerto Rico, you know that that is absolutely true. For sure. Well, we're going to get Paul to play us another little jig now in a minute. Play about perspiration here and all that. This little jig that we're going to do Well, not little gigs, the ordinary gig, you know what I mean? No such thing as little gigs at all.
What's that?
No such thing as little gigs at all.
No.
Yeah, they're all same song. Anyway, we're way back, me and Sam were doing all these records and stuff like that. We did, Sam was playing accordion like Paul's doing there. And we dig up all these old tunes that we could find that used to be used for square dances and all that sort of stuff over the years. And the more obscure the G's were, the better that we liked them, because then people would say, well, where did you get that one from? And so forth, you know, so we always like to surprise people like that. But anyway, had a lot of good G's there. One of the ones we put on was one that we heard from Mr. Neil Benoit, lived in Black Duck, out on the west coast, in the French part of the country, of the province. Mr. Neil Benoit played the fiddle, and he was a very comical man. So when we were ready to do the record, I said, Sam, I think I should give Mr. Benoit a call. You find get him and ask him, because he might own this tune, and perhaps he might object to us putting it on accordion music, playing on the fiddle and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, gave him a call, found his number, gave him a call, and he was such a kind of person. Oh man, was he ever nice. And comical, very, very, very fun man. Anyway, I said, Mr. Benoit, we're thinking about putting your tune that you plays there and on with the accordion instead of the fiddle. Oh, yes, my boy, he said, don't worry about that, you go right ahead and do it. So instead of calling it what was normally known as Entering St. John's, I think that was the title called?
Entering St. John's.
Entering St. John's, we called it Emil's Gig in honor of Mr. Emile Benoit. Tom was going to play it for you now. And you can think of it as Entering St. John's. You probably heard it on the radio several times. I was just around to play it, and Paul's going to play it now, but we call it Emil's Gig, and it goes like this. Good, lovely. Next song we did, boys, you guys borrowed that was? Yep. That kid will come because they were all fans, you wouldn't have, you got to watch them.
Somebody's ringing. Is that on notice?
They're from Belleville, we came down there today, looked up to the bay, looked up there. Jesus, that fell out of the way over there. I'll tell you the truth, I thought they were going to go World Wars when I'm over, but they're good boys, they're good fellas, I must say that. We've had some great times together, and it's been wonderful. We've had a great summer. And a lot yet to come. Please God, the willows up and everything we've got. Anyway, here's a song that we did too, way back. I'm not sure when, back in the 80s, I suppose, or early 90s or something like that. Anyway, this is sort of a love song, and I'm sure you've heard us sing it over the years. Very young fella, you know, you just put this to yourself. The young fella, he got this pretty girl, and she got roses in her hair, and she smells really nice, and he thinks he got her on. He thinks he lost her. And that's not a very good feeling, I can tell you that. But anyway, we old songwriters got a way of giving people out of jams, you know. When you see they got them in a jam, well, then you can always get them out, you know, write them out. And that's what we did with this young fella. And when it's all said and done, they were living happily ever after. And the story, or whatever you want to call it, is in this little song called Rose in Your Hair. It's a good dance song too, by the way. Thank you very much. Thank you. See, I got into the jam, didn't I? You know, that's the way you do it. Some time ago, I happened to hear this song on the radio. The first time I heard it, I hadn't heard it before. I think it was the OWI show I was going last time. And this song came on, and I said, gee, that's a beautiful song. I don't think I've ever heard this before. It was called The Soldier Boy in Brown. And it was being done by Mr. Harvey Hicks. He did so many songs and tunes and everything over the years. Shortly after that, when I heard the song, the war broke out in Ukraine with Russia and Ukraine over there. And you know, the TV was full of news reports about all the atrocities and things that were going on over there. And older people and children and young wives leaving to go outside their country altogether to get away from the war, and the men folk, of course, going off to fight for the freedom of their country. The first thing that came to my mind when I heard when this war broke out and this sort of thing was the song. The song kept coming back to me. You know, this song is a little bit of change here and there in the words, and this song could be something that would say something about what is happening over there. So I changed a few words and a few verses and so forth. And we made up this song, and we still call it The Soldier Boy in Brown. our heroes safely home. And I'm old again, my soldier boy is brown. I'll be waiting for you, sweetheart, I'll be you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey?
I said, don't keep that famous much else.
I don't think it is either. The fan is not very much help, no. Not giving it very much cold air, I don't think it is. I don't feel that right. Are we gonna do another deed for you guys one day? Invite some more people. Have another deed with you. Paul's gonna do this one, it's called the Twinkle Toe Hornpipe.
Oh, that is,
We don't know what
my
our
fingers are really slippery, so slip something, you don't fall down every dance, right?
There you go, wipe them off in your pants. I'll let them off. Twinkle Toe Hornpipe is you.
Yeah, but we showed her don't dance like that too.
Little scuff. Have a little scuff. There's a little Irish song for you. We're gonna do with Colleen, and this one's called My Eye Is Waiting. I'm always right on and easy. I'm having the world at heart. On one side of my economy, I couldn't forget my brother. He lives far it's all over the mountain, where the little birds sing on the tree. In a cottage all covered with ivy, my ivy is waiting for me. In a cottage all covered with ivy, my ivy is waiting for me. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We were instructed by Joyce, she's in charge, not you. And she said, you know, play for an hour and then we'll take a break because she's got some little business she wants to do. I think she's selling some tickets or something like that. Is that right, Joyce?
Yes, what? We got cold water down here. Anybody wants a bottle of water?
There you go. So we're going to take a little break and wipe off some perspiration and so forth. And we'll be back again on the set for you before the night is through. God bless you. Thank you very much.
All right, we got a couple of draws to do. First of all, we're going to do the door prize. And the prize is $218. That's what we're giving away. Now, first of all, this is Come Home Year 2022, and everybody come home, and they're either foreign Newfoundlanders coming home, or they're mainlanders coming here, they're all coming from away, or whatever. Now, where did you come from? Have we got anyone from Canada? Up Canada, we'll call it. So we are going to someone from Ontario. Stand up, tell us where you're from. There's Josh over here, and Rosalind, and Peter. Is it Peter? Yeah, Peter. I know Kate, I met her today, she's from Colorado. So is there anyone else? And we got Dana? Yeah. And you're from? Toronto. So is there anyone else from the mainland? Oh, Carolyn is over there.
Where's the mainland?
Wait, I'm from Barris Hill. Fraser, where are you from, Ottawa? Okay, you're reset. I'm at Barry, so I have to talk picking up. Okay, so that's wonderful. Welcome everybody over here asking one more time. Just a reminder to come up right now. Yeah, she's from Colorado. Yep. And there's a lady there. You're from here? Oh, Massachusetts. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tomorrow night is a dance here with the Islanders, and it's a BYOB, so you all know what that is. And I got to say that if you haven't been to the Camp Riches Cheese one, you should really be there. We got an awesome cook, and we got a fantastic baker, and her name's Pearl. And every time I go down to the tea room, which I make many trips during the week, she asks me, "Do you think I should make this? Should I make that? How do you make this?" I said, "Pearl, you're asking the wrong one, because I do not bake." Don knows that. Don does the baking. He makes the Christmas cookies. So I said, I can whip up something else here on the computer, whatever you want. That's what I can do. But don't go asking me, how you make this, or how you does that, or whatever, because I don't have a clue. So tonight's door prize is going to be one of my creations that I've donated to the Heritage. So, you want to do the 50-50 first?
Whatever.
Okay.
We get someone to draw this.
Probably one of the boys.
Okay, go. Reach and take one of them.
So we all know we have green point players. And in the fall of the year, usually we have very high seas. Either down, be down over there. When we see it up there to burn dead, we'll go down and spend hours down there. All right, let me just say first. 998-1313. 998-1313. From St. John's, right? There you go, man. Perfect. So like I said, one of 3-point writers is when it's St. John's. We managed to get some, or I managed to get some wonderful shots. And this last year has been unbelievable. So tonight's door prize is going to be one of my creations. So the lucky winner will be. Wayne got the posters. The lucky number is 014103. 103. You get a picture of 3-point writers. All of it on your church. And Ronnie loves my pictures. Anyway, thank you everybody for your support for 50-50. And I hope you're enjoying this wonderful night because they're doing an awesome job.
Oh, there's cold water there in front.
Cold water there in front.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back for a few more songs for you, and James knows what it is. First of all, we're going to start over with the song of boys, as we said before, from Bell Island. And of course, know all about what happened in the mines over the years and all that sort of stuff. They have a song that they have up on the internet that's been doing really, really well, called Whistle Don't Blow. And it was written by Linda Hickey, who's here tonight. And Linda, I'm going to pass it over so Linda can introduce this song, and then we're going to get Paul to sing the song.
Thank you very much, Bud. How fortunate we are, right there. See how well I listen? Can I move now? How fortunate we are to have Mr. Bud Davidge, Mr. Paul Hamilton, and Mr. Nate Hammond on the stage tonight. They're actually going to... Absolutely. I am, a little bit. But the next tune that they're going to do, I'm so honored to have these three gentlemen perform this song. It's actually a song that I wrote, and I handed it over to Mr. Paul Hamilton here on the accordion and the vocals, and I said, Paul, I've written a song about the Bell Island miners and the life of a miner, and more about the whistle don't blow. And so if you're familiar at all with a mining town, you know that they lived by the whistle. So the whistle told them everything. It told them the time of day, it told them the morning, it told them the end of a shift, it told them when school was out, it told them if there was a fire, if there was an accident, if there was a fall around in the mine. So they literally lived by the blast of the whistle. They actually knew what section of the island, if there was a fire, by the amount of blast that the whistle blew. And so, unfortunately, like Bud sang in some of his songs about Elport, Newfoundland, the same thing happened in the mining era on Bell Island. It closed in 1966, so the whistle does not blow anymore. So the song is, I handed it over to Paul, he put the music to the song, we recorded it by the amazing Mr. Jim Fiddler, was our producer on the song, and Bud is doing amazing well. It's up on all the live stream channels, Amazon, Spotify, whatever, but we've gotten over 100,000 views on our song so far, and we released it just last month. So here you go, the Whistle Don't Blow. Thank you so much.
Whistle don't blow now like it used to before. There's only the underground now to mine the iron ore. Oh, the whistle don't blow now like it used to before. There were workers on the land now, and they toil no more. They didn't think twice now when they asked them to go. They brought up their families 20 below. Food for their tables and boots for their feet. Working hard on the ground now, 6 days a week. Oh, the whistle don't blow now like it used to before. There's no man underground now to mind the iron door. Oh, the whistle don't blow now like it used to before. Their work is undone now, and they toil no more. We look back on their past now, meet the cold ocean floor. Out the crosscuts and cars that once held the iron ore. A hard way of life then, that only we knew. But we always remember them and forever will do. Oh, the whistle don't blow now like it used to before. There's no man underground now to mind the iron ore. Oh, the whistle don't blow now like it used to before. Their work is undone now, and they toil no more. Their work is undone now, and they toil no more.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wagner. Thank you very much, Paul, for the beautiful song. Let me see here. We're going to let you do, you up for doing the chicken dinner, Paul? Or raise breakdown or something like that?
Yeah, sure.
Don't want to work too hard, you know. You better watch that too. Because the next thing they'll be unionized or something. And Paul in trouble, is it? Anyway, Paul's going to do a little jig here called Raise Breakdown. Charlotte?
I'm waiting for it.
Oh, Wayne Floyd, there you go. Yeah.
And Joyce's sister-in-law.
And Joyce's sister-in-law. All coming out now. They're all coming out. Anyway, folks, we're going to do a song here now that whenever we get the chance, and we haven't had a whole lot of chances in the last couple of years because you know why. Things have been pretty rough for a lot of people over during the pandemic, and things got all snarled up for a while. But all the time throughout the pandemic, we were very conscious of the fact that a lot of good people out there in the nursing homes, in the hospitals and so forth, were looking out to our seniors and most vulnerable people and doing a great job of it to try to keep them from getting infected with this terrible COVID disease. So every chance we get, we send a song out to these wonderful people, frontline workers and all they are. And this song we think is very appropriate for that occasion, for that particular reason. And we're going to do it for you. It's called Darling Say You Love Me When I'm Old. And touch their golden hair and looked upon her face so young and fair. He held her gently to his loving heart, saying only God alone could make us part. Darling, say you'll love me when I'm old. When dark clouds gather round and nights are cold, Thank you very much.
What the hell, Alex? You gotta be there.
As I mentioned earlier on, I suppose I did anyway, that I live down in Fortune Bay. Me and my wife, we still have our own homestead down here in Charlotte West in Fortune Bay. So we try to get down there in the summer as much as we can. This summer has been a little bit different. We haven't got down for only about a week or so. But we're hoping to get back down there soon. Before the blueberries are all gone and all picked and everything else. Because we like to go out in the bushes and pick the berries. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, we do. And we go out and pick some berries and all that sort of stuff out in the bushes. Some years ago, thinking about that, and I said, well, write a little song about that, and it's called Out in the Bushes with You. Now, sometimes when you write a song and put it out there, and you say, you don't know who's going to listen to it, or if anybody's going to listen to it, and all of a sudden, you see somebody nowadays, you see them on Facebook or whatever, and they're listening to or singing this song that you put out, and you figure, probably nobody not even listening to it. And this particular song, a few years back, and you probably might even know the lady. She was over in Bay Roberts, I think, this old lady. She was up in her 90s, I believe, at the time. Somebody put it up on Facebook, and she was sitting down to the table, and she was singing this whole song called Out in the Bushes with You, and what a lovely job she was doing. And that's, well, there you go. No, you never can tell, you never know. Anyway, we're going to do this little song for you, a little lighthearted sort of little thing, called Out in the Bushes with You. Back home where my heart still longs to be too. And if you were there, the things we would share would never a care in the bushes with you. There is no doubt that we would go true where the flies are so thick and the skies are so blue. And if there's no trout, it still would be lovely. Outdoors all alone in the bushes with you. Oh, I like you to be a young gaffer back home where my heart still longs to be too. And if you were there, oh, the things we would share would never a care in the bushes with you. Partridge berries, no, I'm not a good early thinker, that's true. And if there's no worrying, I'm likely will worry. Outdoors all alone in the bushes with you. When we get so sure we'll whip out our rubbers, when the pin boughs all stuck to our socks like the glue. Sweet on your shimmy, therefore I was out in the bushes with you. Oh, what I feel to be a young gaffer back home, when our heart still longs to be too. And if you were there, oh, the things we would share, I'd never a care in the bushes with you. When the birds and the bears in the bushes with you. And the Emmets, you know the Emmets, right? Oh yeah. The standard Emmet, right? So You gotta be careful when you sit down or whatever.
I will blow very big in one.
Get next, I'll tell you. Gotta watch them. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're winding down here, but always at our shows, no matter what time of year it is, we always do a couple of Christmas songs. Especially this year's come on year, people haven't been celebrating Christmas exactly the way they normally would for the last couple of years. So we were conscious of that as well. And so we said we would throw in a couple of Christmas songs, which we're going to do for you just about now. The first one we're going to do is a waltz. And you want to speak the waltz, a big waltz song, this one's called The Old Outdoor Christmas Waltz. Okay, we're doing that one. Yep, that's right. Whole hour drive, so I'm done from work too.
Waltzes are on that one.
Once again, it's that magical time of the year. Snow on the ground, there's joy in the air. Everyone's talking about old Santa Claus, that old outdoor Christmas wall. They just played any numbers loud in on the radio station, and they played it again. Jingle bells jingled last night in the frost, that old outdoor Christmas wall. Everything's dandy, it seems to say, we're happy and well, and we like it that way. We haven't got much, no worries or frowns, so give me a kiss and I'll swing around. Seems like it's only a short time ago when you and I danced across this whole kitchen floor. Good things like this keep returning because that old outdoor Christmas wall. Little one sliding high up on the ridge, love lovers, old hands walk back from the bridge. Accordion and music drifting down from the lost, with the old outdoor Christmas wall. You never hear one single word of regret, the trouble around, it's time to forget. Carols and swing and the snow softly falls to that old outdoor Christmas wall. Rock it all up in the red and the green, the lady lights came on the old Christmas tree. You owe your handful of lonely and lost, they'll dance that old Christmas wall. Newfoundland, Labrador, Christmas, they say, when the boats are all big up out in pouring rain. Well, Merry Christmas out along that old Christmas music wall. It's a come home year Christmas, come one and come all, that's the old outdoor Christmas wall. La 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 And I did get one dream, but after all, the boats are all That's when Christmas really starts. It's been that way for quite a long, long time now, hasn't it? And they light up the boats, and everybody says, you know, Christmas is here! And the boats are all lit up out in Wordy Grave. There you go. So you made it to the big time after all.
23 years, celebrating.
23 years?
24 coming out.
24 coming up. There you go. Isn't that amazing? Anyway, another Christmas song that we put up back in 1983, 84, around about there on an old record called Christmas Fancy. And this was the title song on that old record. And if you got a copy of the vinyl, it's an old green record. It's been out for a long, long time. But there's not very many of them around anymore, so we got to hold on to it tight. Because somebody will come and steal it on you because they want it really bad. And we haven't got any copies anymore, but yes, we did. Christmas Fancy. In fancy my mind wanders back to my youth. I just love this time each year. When snow softly falls and the merry bells ring to welcome the Christmas time cheer. In a snug little spot by the side of the sea, what happiness Christmas would bring. The friends were as diamonds contented would be, to laugh and to dance and to sing. It was coming to my house so humble and small, and let's drink a toast to us here. In the 12 days of Christmas we'll bring together all, with a wish for a happy new year. I'm sitting in the parlor now, cozy and bright, with the warmth from the old-fashioned stove, and the flickering light from the kerosene light bring the warm Christmas feeling to love. Now each year at Christmas I think of this day, no matter where it'll arrive. In fancy my mind wanders back to my youth, in that snug little spot by the sea. It was coming to my house so humble and small, and let's drink a toast to us here. In the 12 days of Christmas we'll bring together home, with a wish for a happy new year. It was coming to my house so humble and small, and let's drink a toast to us here. In the 12 days of Christmas we'll bring together home, with a wish for a happy new year. In the 12 days of Christmas let's drink together home, with a wish for a happy new year. Thank you very much. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, yeah. On that old record that I just mentioned there was another song that kept playing over and over again for many, many years, 30-some years now. It happened to be put on a Land and Sea program, as you probably remember and know, because it's been playing on CBC. Land and Sea program has been playing for 37 years. And it quickly became known as the Mama Show. And just because of this old song that we called when we started it, "Any Mama's Loud Even," which is what we used to say at home, and then it became known as the Mama Song. So anyway, it goes like this. It don't seem like Christmas if Mama should be here. Granny would say as she gave him a cheer, things have gone modern, I suppose, just to call it. Because Christmas not looking on. hallelujah day. There's big ones and small ones and tall ones and ten. Boy, praising the women and girl bless the men. With arms on their backs and dicks on their feet. My blessed will die with the day. There's only one there that I think that I know. That tall fella standing over outside the snow. He's shaking his fist out of make me not tell. Must be really from out on the hill. Now that one's a stranger and the river was one. With his underwear stuffed and he's trying to go around. Is he wearing these mother's day party to ride? I know, but I'm not going to say. Don't suppose you find mothers will turn down a drum. No one will allow me whatever you got. I'm the one with these mother blues on the wrong feet. These are not there to go in a week. I suppose if the cats just stay out their head, they've been tapping my feet ever since they came. And now let the drinks and be all passed around. Sure the numbers are blind and are down. Be careful the land and hold on to the snow. Don't swing very hard, cause you know that she's low. No need for the care. Across the floor, those numbers have danced here before. My God, oh, we better go. Right now we're all getting the devil's on cold. Good night and good Christmas, Mother's New Year's. Please God we will see you next year. Good night and good Christmas, Mother's New Year's. Please God we will see you next year. There's my numbers, folks. And now, folks, we're going to do a little thing for numbers to slow down. They come up down that little stuff. We're going to close it down now with this routine. We want to say thank you very, very much for coming out like you did. Thank you, Joyce, for inviting us down. And we appreciate being here. We've enjoyed it right to the absolute most that we could possibly enjoy anything. The summer room in here, you fine people, and you sitting there listening to us sing these old songs. Anyway, Paul's going to do it out with a little old thing that everybody knows. God is the Lord of the bills. Oh!
John, we would love to see you on the
We'll see you again sometime. We hope. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, on behalf of the Board of Red Peninsula Air Home Year Committee for coming. Don't forget, breakfast tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. 8 to 11. We expect to see you here. Thank you very much for a fantastic night.